Hi everyone, welcome back to crochet tutorials and crochet basics. So today what I'm going to show you is how to do a magic ring or magic circle. There's a few different names for it. So I'm just going to show you a couple of methods. So there's one where you wrap it round, so you want the working yarn at the top and the end at the bottom, and then you wrap it round to make sure it crosses over on this side of your fingers. Then you turn your hand over and you put your hook through underneath this loop and hook it under that, and then sort of turn it round and grab a hold of that space there, and then you want to yarn around your hook, pull it through and tighten it down, and that's you got your magic ring there. So that's one of the most common methods that people use, and then you can just start crocheting into your ring as many stitches as you need. So I'll just do 3 just to demonstrate, and then when you've got all your stitches and you can count your V's along that side there. Then you just pull the short end to close. One technique that is worth noting for when you're closing, especially if you're using chenille yarn or another kind of yarn that maybe has a tendency to break if you pull too hard, is instead of just yanking it really hard, pull it and just keep the tension even and steady, and it will eventually give way. So that's one method. I'll show you again just for clarity. So you want to lay the yarn over your fingers like this, then wrap up and over so that you've got a cross, and then hook under that loop, round that loop, and then you just want to pull through with your working yarn, and that's you got your magic ring. So that's quite a common method. For me, you can probably see I do find it kind of fiddly to do. So my preferred technique for magic ring is a lot simpler. So you're kind of holding your yarn there, and then you pull the tail behind the working yarn, pull it through and just tighten it a bit. It's just like tying a knot really, and then but you don't tighten it fully, and then put your hook through the loop, grab the working yarn, pull that up, and then you're doing the same thing again, and essentially you do end up with something similar. And then you can just do your single crochets for most, certainly for most amigurumi patterns you're normally doing 6. That's the kind of most common start. One thing that I find is useful, especially working with chenille yarn, is if you're doing a magic ring, is do some of the stitches and then just start to tighten it down. So again, just watch, steady, even pressure, it will eventually give way. So holding the last stitch that you've done and then pulling the tail, and just keep the pressure on and just nice and steady. Don't yank it because it's going to break if you do that, but it does eventually, it'll give and it'll pull down, and then you can tighten it down a bit and then carry on and do the last couple of stitches that you need to do. I just find that really helps stop the yarn from snapping and stops it from kind of pulling off and shedding so much when you're doing that, and then close it down, and that's you got your magic ring. So I'll show you that again just for purposes of demonstration. So you're just pulling the tail behind, pull it through and tighten it down a little bit, and then you put your hook into the loop, pull up the working yarn, grab a hold of it here, so you want to grip it here, yarn around your hook, pull through, and there you go, you've got your magic ring. So hopefully that was helpful, but what I'll do is I'll switch to some chenille yarn just to show you how it works on this type of yarn. So this is the S Mums SMUMS, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce it, Milano chenille yarn. It's one that I really like. It's really soft, the colours are gorgeous, and it does seem to have less of a tendency to shed than some of the other ones, so it seems to go a bit smoother when you're doing magic rings as well. So I'll just show you both methods with that. So again, crossing over, hook under, round, twist it, grab it there, and then you want to pull that up and tighten it down. Yeah, there we go. Just got a bit twisted there. So that's your got magic ring. And again, especially with chenille yarn, if you're doing 6 single crochets in the magic ring, which is the most common one, or if it's 8 or 4 or whatever, do a few and then just start to pull it. So say holding gently there, don't squeeze too hard, just hold it steady there and just slowly pull it closed, and then I'll continue. Just slow and steady, and it's much less likely to snap. So one thing that can help is if you hold the yarn in your hand, thumb there, and instead of pulling, sort of push, so you're kind of pushing the yarn to tighten it. That's another wee technique that I picked up during my time as a vet. When you're working with suture materials, catgut was always one that had a tendency to snap if you weren't careful, and some of the thinner kind of suture materials. So when I was working on really small animals like mice and hamsters, you have to use really fine thread essentially to stitch them up. So because it was so fine, too much pressure and it would snap. So that was a technique that I learned from that, and it does really help reduce the chances of it snapping because of how you're distributing the force on the material essentially. But I'll show you, I say one thing you'll notice, this really doesn't shed very much, this yarn. It's lovely, it's really good. So it's something I found it on Amazon, and it's SMUMS is the name. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, as I said, but absolutely brilliant, and the seller was really helpful when I had to make an inquiry about some stuff for toy safety regulations. They were absolutely brilliant, so highly recommended. But that's, I'm too busy talking. So I say this is my preferred technique for magic ring. It might work for you, it might not. Everybody has a slightly different way of doing it, which is fair enough, but this is the way that makes sense to my brain. So you're tying your knot, but you're not fully tying it. Hook through the loop, pull it up, grab everything and yarn over, pull through it, then tighten it down. And as I say, if you're starting an amigurumi with 6 single crochets, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'll just start to, so make sure the tail stays underneath there, so gently hold the last stitch. And I say, if you hold it there gently, put your thumb there and push, and it just goes way smoother. So we'll just finish this off, I say, just for demonstration purposes. And hopefully my hands will stop shaking. That's the reason that I've not posted very much for a while. That I've got some issues with my nervous system, and I've got arthritis in my hands, so which is the reason I'm not a vet anymore. So I've been struggling to do much, but I wanted to do this because I think it'd be really helpful for a lot of people. So that's us got our 6 single crochets, so we just need to tighten up the circle. So grip it in your hand, thumb on there, other hand just holding the last stitch gently, and then just, so you kind of rolling your wrist and just pushing and pushing the yarn away, and then you can move your hand up if you need to tighten it down, and that's you. So you're ready to then go on and start your next round. So there's a few wee tips and tricks there, and a couple of different techniques for the magic ring. If you've never done it before, it's worth trying them both out, see how you get on, and see what works for you. I say the first method that I showed is the kind of standard method. The second method is just the way that I've come up with it. You do end up with the same thing essentially, but that way makes more sense to my brain. So that's what's worked for me so far. So hopefully that has been helpful for you. Also, absolutely recommend this brand of yarn. I'll try and drop a link to it in the description on YouTube. And I'll maybe put a link on my link tree for social media so that you can find it if you want to try it. I think they are a UK based seller, but I must say I bought it on Amazon, and it's a brand that I've not seen many people talk about, but their chenille yarn is really, really nice. It's really soft, it's really pretty, and in terms of sort of shading and sort of falling apart when you're doing magic rings or when you're sewing, it can do it, but it seems to be a lot less than other chenille brands that I've used. And I say it's one that I'm really quite fond of. They have also done the EN17 or EN71 testing for heavy metals and things, so that's something that I really value, because it means that I can make plushies to sell in the UK, and I can do all the safety testing as appropriate, which is much better for, you know, making sure that you can have lots of nice colours and options for people, but you can still sell the toys legally, because it is something that is a requirement in the UK and within the EU, that you have to do all the safety testing and things before selling plushies and selling toys. So the fact that they've, when I asked them about it, they went and got the testing done, which was really, really good of them, because they're not obligated to do that, but it's a big help for people like me and my fellow crocheters in the UK who are selling their handmade toys, that it's a good brand for that, and that they've gone and done that testing. So you can use their yarn. You'd have to get the certificates from them by yourself, but I'd really appreciate the fact that when I asked them about it, they said, oh, we'll get back to you, and then a wee while later they emailed me and sent me a copy of the certificate, and they'd gone and got the testing done. So really good yarn, and I say the colours are lovely. This is like a kind of salmon pink. They've got really nice purple shade and really nice kind of bright blue shade as well, which you would have seen with a little bubblegum cow. So this was the cow that I made with dice roll to pick the colours. So this blue is that brand as well, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love this little one. But yeah, so yarn recommendation. This is not a sponsored post. I've not received any kind of commission from them. I just really, is a brand that I really like, so it's one that I would recommend looking into for yourself. So just another way aside, but absolutely is not a sponsored post at all. I just really like the yarn. And I like the range of colours and things that they've got. So that's all from me for today and from this little cow. Remember, the pattern's available on the website, and I have got a few of these ready to go to be sold as well if anybody's interested in buying one. But thanks for watching, and I hope this tutorial's been helpful for you, and I will catch up with you next time. Okay, bye.